darlings. Thank you for joining me on Tea Time. This episode of Tea Time is a check-in on, I had hysterectomy. This is going into my fourth year. I feel like I get a little confused. Anyway, I had a hysterectomy. So it's going into my third, Lord, someone help me, 3-4 years ago. And, but the underlying root cause of the hysterectomy was endometriosis and cysts. And so I like to check in on the anniversary of this really life-changing surgery that I had, to just let you darlings know you're not alone. I love to share candidly on this topic, and I feel like there's always new viewers. And so I just quickly run through my symptoms, my story, my struggles, and just a wellness check-in. And we do this over a cup of tea. And today I am having this tea, which is a favorite of mine. I don't know if you can see that. It's a matcha green tea, but it's very light and delicious. This particular one, my friend was in Japan and she brought back some of this green tea, and I really love this one, especially throughout the day. And it's just got all the, the benefits, for, the body. Does the body good? Okay, so let me take a sip. My oh my, it's really, really hot. Even the cup is too hot to hold. Here we go. So, I'll start at the beginning because the beginning is always a great place to start. Okay, so hysterectomy was at least 3 years ago. So back up 5 years from there, somewhere around that timeline, I was having these really horrible periods. And it wasn't just horrible periods. My PMS, or that time between my periods, was I would have nausea, I'd have excruciating pain, debilitating kind of pain where I couldn't get up and function. That would just keep me in bed all day long. It was multiplied by the fact that I had this crazy lifestyle, that I was traveling all the time, and it wasn't like the pain was, or these symptoms would erupt on a schedule. It was always random, and there would be times where I'd arrive in a city and pray that I was going to be okay, that I wasn't going to be in any pain. And all the while, I wasn't telling my doctor, I wasn't telling my family. It was something that I was internalizing myself and just kind of knuckle up. This is just a part of womanhood, and maybe because you're getting older, and all these things that I tried to convince myself that were normal, that this is just a part of aging, this is just a part of being a woman. And as it was actually becoming kind of scary because of, like I said, my lifestyle of traveling and having to work through the pain. And working through the pain was probably the hardest thing that I didn't know I was doing, that I was digging super deep for. I went to a therapist. I was seeing a therapist through this whole time, and she was like, you're in a cycle of pain. And so there's a moment, it becomes a mental game, chronic pain. And I got to a point where medicine, over the counter, a Aleve, Advil, Tylenol, that shit wasn't working. It wasn't knocking it down. It was barely taking off the edge. And when I say was in pain, I have had 2 children with 0 epidural. I had them induced, so it was intense pain. I can handle pain. I know I can handle pain. But this was just it would take my breath away. It literally, I was just in agony. I was also working out and eating my plant-based lifestyle. I was taking care of myself. So it wasn't I was rationalizing so much to myself why I would be experiencing this on a pretty regular basis. It wasn't every month, but maybe every other month. It was frequent enough that I needed to get help, but I was also scared, like what's going on with me. And I was at the gym one time and I was laying down and I was gonna do some stretching, and I just noticed like part of my abdomen was raised. And you know, when you're laying down, your stomach kind of dips down and you can see. I was thin enough that I could like see this lump protruding over my lower abdomen, and I was just like, okay, what is that? And I was literally like freaking out at that point. I went to the doctor and the girls came with me, my daughters came with me, because mommy was in need of her best friend support. And I was really scared because, like I said, I didn't realize that I had this enormous lump mass or whatever. So I had my doctor like feel it, and she just was like, oh, you know, we'll just take like a biopsy, we'll just see what's going on, don't worry. Meanwhile, my period pains or the PMS or whatever the hell was going on was intensifying, and it was pretty much happening like every single month now. And it wasn't, like I said, necessarily just like on my period. It could be like a week or two before my period. My body was crying out for help, was very like scared and worried and still trying to function, run TTL, be this amazing charismatic flight attendant to my boss, and like do all the things, be a great wife and be a great mom. Like I was still trying to be myself through all of this, and it was becoming increasingly just, I don't know, it was hard. It was very emotional, because you sit with your thoughts and you sit with your fear and you sit with your anxiety, and it's so sucking, like the whole experience of what's wrong with me, you know, is this going to go away? What can I do to solve it? So basically it took nearly a year to diagnose what was going on with me. I had 2 complex cysts, and after like seeing a couple specialists, an oncologist, just to make sure what was, you know, going on with me and, you know, what was going on with the cyst, it was decided that I should do a full hysterectomy, because the way that the cysts were placed on the uterus, and it just was like, okay. I honestly said, whatever we need to do, I want to do it. Please. I can't live like this anymore. I cannot live like this. Kind of like glossing over it a bit, but it was pretty awful, as far as not the surgery, but just the struggle to get to a diagnosis and a course of action, because I was still in like a shit ton of pain, like all those months that I'm having like test after test after test. It was felt like between every trip I was at the doctor getting tests done. On the channel you can go back and see like the very first conversation that I had about my hysterectomy. Probably my words are a little more sharp, but the distance of time has definitely healed me in some ways. Immediately after my surgery, it was done laparoscopically, so I was able to leave the very same day. When I say I had a hysterectomy, I had my tubes and uterus and cervix removed, and ovaries. So I wake up, or I'm coming out of, you know, the anesthesia, and my doctor is like literally, he's right there, and he says, I'm so sorry, you must have been in the most excruciating pain. And as I'm hearing him and not hearing him, because I'm still kind of drugged up, and his apology kind of like registering in my head. Long story short, I had endometriosis. It wasn't until that I had the surgery that he was able to conclusively say this. It is the first time that I heard him say this. He never mentioned the word endometriosis to me. Every conversation, every appointment that I ever had was focused on these growths on my uterus and ovaries. And so those words that my doctor said to me, in just doing my own research and things, I had a suspicion that I had endometriosis, but this wasn't something that he came to me with. He had never discussed this with me or the possibility of it, but basically endometriosis is when your uterine lining is inflamed and it grows on the outside of your uterus. And it can grow on your ovaries, it can grow on your tubes, it can grow on your bladder, it can grow on your bowels. So this inflamed tissue can be removed, and it will basically heal and correct your the inflammation. But the only way that, to my knowledge, that it can be conclusively detected is through a laparoscope, meaning they put a little hole in your abdomen and they bring a camera in there and they're able to see what's actually going on. There is no blood test for this, or it would probably be like an exploratory surgery to just find out if you have endometriosis. But as I was having a hysterectomy and I knew that I was removing everything, when he was in there, he also made sure that he cleared the area of any inflamed uterine tissue. So with all of that being said, it was like a switch went off in my body having the hysterectomy. It's definitely the best thing that has ever happened to me as far as gaining quality of life. And when I say a switch went off, I want to say within 3 to 5 days, I swear I felt like a superhero. I was walking and moving and my body just felt like I owned it again. It felt like I could do anything. I had superhero complex. I'm invincible kind of complex. And it was basically because I was pain-free. Yes, I had surgery, recovery, or whatever, I only had 3 little holes in my abdomen, but I knew that I had sutures inside. Okay, yeah, I had that kind of pain, but I wasn't in fucking kill me pain. Oh my gosh, it was the amount of pain that I was living with every single day. I didn't realize how debilitating that it actually was. So it turns out that endometriosis is hereditary. So I talked to my mom and she was like, yeah, I had endometriosis, and my aunt apparently had endometriosis. And so it's I love bringing this conversation up at least once a year for the very simple fact that we need to be sharing our health histories with each other, meaning within your family. Share what is going on with you physically, because I tell my daughters, I talked to May about it, talked to Zaya about it, they know because they were intimately involved in my process of surgery and recovery, and they were such amazing babies taking care of mommy during that period of time. So moving forward, I opted not to. So basically, when you have a hysterectomy of my nature, it kind of throws your body into menopause, which means your hormones and things are as if you are in menopause, although I am way too early to be in menopause. So you can take hormones to kind of mitigate some of the side effects of menopause, and there's so many levels and intricacies of being in menopause. And so I have here a text that I refer to and definitely deep dive into. It's a little beat up because I literally traveled with this book for 3 years. Even before I had surgery, I started reading this book. And I have shared this before on the blog. what your doctor may not tell you about menopause, the breakthrough book on natural hormone balance. And so this book talks about endometriosis, it talks about menopause, it talks about hormones, what they do in your body, how our hormones work as we age and what that looks like, how it affects your brain, how it affects all the systems in your body. It is extremely comprehensive, and I was definitely able to follow it. It's not so dense that like it just like goes over your head. Some of it, yes, but I highly recommend you check out this book. You know, a lot of what you see me do, if you follow me on Instagram, maybe you're new to my new YouTube channel here, but I am all about like, what can I do every day for my overall health? How can I take care of my gut? How can I take care of my hair, my nails from the inside out? Like, what can I do daily to just do the best by my body? And so this book really appealed to my sense of natural living and wanting to come at this from a different mindset, a non-traditional mindset, or maybe it is traditional. Maybe it is time that we protest and contest and push back on our doctors instead of just accepting the prescriptions that they hand us. And these as far as when you have a menopause, like my doctor was trying to put me on birth control to bring back some hormones to my body. So in this conversation that I'm having with my doctor, some of the initial, or I should say some of my final conversations with him, because he's no longer my doctor, he was saying that the endometriosis feeds on estrogen. And so it grows, it actually like fuels the inflammation. And so I was trying to understand, why would he prescribe me something that was putting estrogen back into my body? And this prescription was coming my way maybe 6 weeks after having surgery. And so I'm trying to get my brain around, well, why are you giving me something that's going to bring the inflammation back? Like, and so I told him, I said, listen, you know what? I'm gonna try some hippy dippy holistic approach. Let me see how my body responds to just like being pain-free. And you know, how is my cognitive thinking, and how is my energy level? How am I sleeping? Am I hot flashy? And you know, all the things that happen to your body in menopause. And so I did not stop seeing him because I was upset with him. I stopped seeing him because I no longer need a gynecologist. That was why he was no longer my surgeon, doctor, whatever. But I still have a GP who also does gynecological work. And so I see her and I check in with her, but I didn't see her last year. And so I am going to get some blood work done to check my hormones, because I just want to see where I'm at on my levels and everything. So I will definitely update you on the next tea time and let you know what's going on with me in that category. Because I couldn't get in to see her and all that stuff before recording here with you, darlings. But all this to say, I want whoever's watching this to know you are not alone. If anything that I'm saying sounds familiar, sounds like what you're living with, talk to your doctor and don't accept, I shouldn't say don't accept, but really contest, like really get in their face if necessary and be like, listen, that Advil, that shit ain't working. I am nauseous, I am having all these multiple symptoms, whatever your symptoms are, and let them know, you know what, endometriosis runs in my family. Talk to your family members about this and get the answers that you deserve, get the treatment that you deserve. And it is not normal to be curled up in the bed, you know, even one day out of the month, half a day out of the month. It isn't normal. And again, I know we all have a different like level of pain tolerance, but if you feel like you can't stand up or your back hurts so badly, like this is literally not acceptable. I can't believe how long I live like that. Like, it makes my throat fill with emotion, and my lifestyle was just so hard during that time, and I don't want that for anyone. I just feel like there has to be conversations like this one to bring awareness that you are not alone living like this. And anyway, it is always such an honor that I get to sit down and that you darlings join me, and that I feel definitely comfortable enough to share these things with you. Menopause is something that has such a negative stigma attached to it. It is a natural evolution of aging, and aging is a gorgeous, beautiful thing. It is God's gift to us to be able to age, and I just want to be a face of like encouragement and support and inspiration in the process of aging, and bring awareness to the overall health and well-being through the process, and on and on and on, and all of those things. And so yes, you're looking at a 43-year-old Black woman who has a menopausal body, and I've had a full hysterectomy, and you see me every day. I live a very fulfilled and vibrant life, and it's not a stigma. It is literally just a part of aging. And darlings, thank you for always sticking with me through these conversations. I will give you an update on how my body is doing hormonally, and please leave me a comment. Be sure you like and subscribe and all that stuff if you want to see more of TeaTime videos and all the content that I drop here on the YouTube channel. And I'm so glad I made it through this without an actual tear dropping. Oh my gosh, it's just reliving those days, just it's rough. But I try to do everything with my shoulders back and my head high, and if not possible, you know, whenever possible, I should say, a smile on my face. So darlings, I am going to just finish this lovely matcha tea, and it is always a pleasure and honor, like I said, to have you with me. Mwah! Thank you for joining. Cheers.